Hello, welcome to this video tutorial. My name is James Olorunosebi. I'll be your guide for this video. In this video, I'm going to show you, when working with your SharePoint farm, how to use the virtual machine VMware Snapshot feature to save you a lot of hassles and a lot of trouble while working on your system. Now, in this modern age, a lot has changed and we have found ourselves in a place where we have to use virtual machine extensively. This means that all our servers that we configure for all our demonstrations are hosted on our local laptop that has a lot of resources assigned to it to power up those virtual machines that we run on them. But sometimes we make a lot of mistakes, we make a lot of misconfigurations or malconfigurations, and things go south. And you are forced to have to go back to the beginning of your configuration and start all over again. That can be a lot of time wasted. So the VMware Snapshot feature saves us these hassles by allowing us to take snapshots of our configuration stages at a particular point. So when things go wrong, we can go back. Now, let me show you something. One of the important reasons why a VMware Snapshot is important is because of what we call agility. Agility is your responsiveness, your ability to respond in a timely fashion to resolve a problem. So with VMware Snapshot, you have what I call peace of mind. With VMware Snapshot, you have what I call a backup. With VMware Snapshot, you are able to go back in time, different parts of the configuration, until you get the results that you're trying to achieve. Now, there's something about the VMware Snapshot. It is not automatic. It has to be manually done. So you have to remember to do it. You have to decide when to do it. Now, for you to see what I'm talking about, we're going to have a demonstration. In this demonstration, I already have a virtual machine that is installed with SQL Server, or what we call SQL Server, properly configured and functional. And then we have, on that same machine, SharePoint 2013 farm, fully functional. But now, I'm going to take us back to the time when I had the SQL Server. I'm going to take us back to the time when I had the SharePoint farm installed. And I'll show you how to go back and forth using VMware Snapshot. Now, in this demonstration, I'll just show you briefly what the setup that is on ground is and take you through that very quickly. And then we'll go straight into the snapshot usage itself. Now on the screen you can see 3 machines running and with 1 machine that is paused. The 3 machines that are running, let's see this one. This is the domain controller machine. It contains the Active Directory and it also contains the Exchange server. Now this is another machine here, SPS SQL DB. And on this machine, we have a couple of setup files that has been used while the system was being set up. And there's a client machine here. This client machine is a Windows 8 machine, and it is used to connect to the SharePoint to consume content from that farm and Active Directory. Okay, so now for the client machine, we're not going to do anything on it. But we could, but we're not going to do anything on it. For the domain controller, we're not going to do anything on it. We can, but we're not going to do anything on it. Where we have to focus our attention is on this machine. Okay. With the volume of work that has gone on this machine, going back using Snapshot would have been a dangerous thing because it means a lot of work would be lost. But I mentioned agility, the ability to quickly respond and get things done fast, effectively, efficiently, real fast. Now, on SPS SQL DB1, there's an option called Snapshot when I right click on that virtual machine, and this is the Snapshot menu. In the Snapshot menu, there's the option to take a snapshot or to revert to a previous snapshot, the last snapshot that was taken. And my last snapshot here was functional SharePoint fresh installation. I took this snapshot at a point where SharePoint configuration had just completed successfully. and this is the snapshot manager. And in the snapshot manager, these are the two snapshots that exist in there. The last one, which was the functional SharePoint fresh installation, and the pre-SQL installation. Now, the pre-SQL installation was the point I was before I installed SQL Server. That was the point at which the Windows 2008 machine was ready, but nothing was installed yet. To revert, this is what we need to do. Okay, now at this time, I just want to show us quickly how to achieve a snapshot by going to the past in this configuration. So I'm going to right click on the tab of this particular virtual machine, and I'm going to go down to the option called snapshot, and I'm going to go to the option called snapshot manager. Now you can also get these same options from the VM tab up here, snapshot. So it is one and the same thing, but for the sake of this exercise, I prefer to use the specific virtual machines tab instead. Now I'm going to select snapshot manager. Now in this dialog box, you can see that it says there are three options. Among the three options is where I am currently is here. It says you are here. Now there is no difference between you are here and this one, functional SharePoint, because this was the last snapshot I took, and after that I haven't made much of any configuration change on this virtual machine. So I'm not going to select this, because if I select this and revert, there will be little or no difference on my screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back all the way to this one, pre-SQL installation. Now in pre-SQL installation, this was before I installed SharePoint, and I'm going to choose go to. So the go to button here is what takes us back in time. It says, by restoring this snapshot, the current state will be lost. Do you want to restore pre-SQL installation? Yes. And we're gonna wait. Now an error shows up on the screen. It's not really much of an error, but it's more of a notification message. I can say no, don't worry about the fragmentation, just proceed. Okay, and now the snapshot has been successful, and you can see now in this machine. See, when I took this snapshot, this window was what I had open in the virtual machine before I took this snapshot. Observe also that all the files and folders that were previously on the desktop of this server are no longer there. Also, if we go to the start menu and go to all programs, there is nothing here that shows that SharePoint was ever installed on this machine. It's missing. Now let's go to the snapshot manager and see what we can get if there's any indication that there's SharePoint. So I right click on this menu again, I go to snapshot, and I go to snapshot manager. Can you see that the diagram is different now? Now there's an arrow that points from pre-SQL installation to you are here, meaning I'm no longer at functional SharePoint installation, but here after pre-SQL, that's where I am. So at this point, if I close this and I come back here and go to all programs, all we can see is just this, pre-SQL. In fact, there is no SQL installation on this machine. If I go to the services console, services console, and search through the list of services, there is no SQL installation in there. Wait for it to come up. Okay, if I scroll through this and I expand this, there's no SQL installation, nothing. But then if I close this and then let's go back to our snapshot manager, now we've gone back in time to the past, and let's go back to the future. Snapshot Manager, and we choose Functional SharePoint. I want you to observe what this diagram here looks like. That after we restore to Functional SharePoint, there will be no diagram that shows an arrow pointing from pre-SQL installation to the current state, which is your here current state. So I choose this, then I say go to. Then I choose yes to proceed, and then let's watch the result. Now observe that as the restoration takes place, the diagram has changed from pre-SQL installation to functional SharePoint. Previously there was an arrow pointing downwards to you are here, but it's been rearranged. The restoration is in progress. After the restoration completes, we'll see the interface has changed. We'll find SharePoint in the programs menu. We'll find SQL Server in the program menu. We'll find SharePoint services in the services console. We'll find SQL Server in the services console. Okay, now we are back. You can see we're back to the exact same point we were earlier before the restore. And on the menu, you can see that our menu items are back. All the files on the desktop are back. If we go to the services console, in the services console, if we expand the name column and scroll down, we can see the SharePoint services are all here. If we scroll down further, we can see the Microsoft SQL Server services are all here. So that is how Snapshot works in virtual machines. So for your SharePoint farm configurations on your laptop, for your virtual machines, Snapshot comes in very handy as a tool for agility and as a tool to quickly make changes to configurations that may have gone bad. Now, if you want the option to be able to do this automatically, because at the beginning of this video I mentioned that it has to be done manually. Now, if you don't want to do it manually, you want it to be done automatically, you can go to the manager, the Snapshot Manager here, and there's an option there called Auto Protect. When you click on Auto Protect, so bring you here to the Auto Protect option, which is disabled. You click the checkbox here to enable auto protection, and when it is enabled, you indicate that you want automatic snapshot event to take place either daily, hourly, or half hourly. Okay, now if I choose half hourly, that seems to be good enough. Then what's the total maximum number of auto protects that you want it to take? I say 3. So Auto Protect will keep a range of snapshots to provide different restore options. So snapshots will be taken every half hour, snapshot taken every hour, and snapshot taken every day. Then you click OK, and you have a snapshot every half hour. But I don't want this option. I prefer to have my snapshots taken manually, because I know exactly at what point I need those snapshots. So that is where I call it a day for this video tutorial. Thank you for watching.